and do the intro before we forget. I mean, I can always check it out later, but all right. So welcome to the Novel Network, where we collaborate and elaborate on bringing novels to life. I'm Libby, here with my co-host Derek, and we are very, very, very excited to have JL Delavega here as our first guest. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you two?
Doing great.
Excited.
Libby's got her tea. I've got my whiskey. What do you
Excellent.
got?
I've got some coffee in my little snowman cup.
Nice.
My retro snowman cup from the 90s.
Love it.
Yes. That's really cute. So when we moved, I was allowed to bring 4 mugs with me because I have a very, very big collection, and my husband's like, you can bring 4. So all my cool retro stuff is back in the States.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how do you choose just 4 for however long you're gonna be gone from away the rest of your things?
Yeah, we did a workaround, and all my friends bought me new mugs and sent them to me.
Nice.
Perfect.
That works.
That's what friends are for.
Of course.
100%. So I don't know you. Derek introduced me to you, and I would love to know more. So you guys met, we were just talking about through a Facebook group, and since we talked about collaboration, I want to know more. Like, how'd you guys meet? How you guys?
Yeah, we met through a Facebook group, apparently called Superheroes Unleashed.
I think it was called something before, and then he actually changed the name to Superheroes
Okay, maybe
Unleashed.
that's why I'm not remembering. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the group was. But Derek had made a post that he was looking for some readers to read and review for Dino Rift,
the ARC readers.
Book. Yeah, the ARC readers. And I was like, sure, why not? I'll read somebody's book, and like dinosaurs caught my eye because you don't see that very often, unless you're in like a really, really like backdoor section of like deep indie cut books.
Or Jurassic Park.
Or Jurassic Park. Aside from Jurassic Park, they're just Jurassic Park are the mainstream dinosaurs. Everything else, like, you just don't see them, and I'm not sure why that is, because everybody loves them. But I was like, oh, sure, I've never read a book with dinosaurs before. Let's see what this is.
I remember seeing your name pop up in my Google form, and I was like, JL Delavega, that is a really cool name. And then it was actually, so Janaea is now like one of my beta readers that I will refer to. And I remember we kind of chatted a little bit after you left your review for Dino Rift, because you mentioned something about Vivian in the story and how she could have used a little more of something. And I went, I noticed that right away. And I thought, I need to get this person in my beta readers list because she's got the eye. And if there's anything I can improve on, especially when it comes to character, I want someone that's going to notice that. And she's
someone
been invaluable. Yeah.
Someone that's gonna. Sorry, I'm interrupting you.
No worries.
Someone, like you said, someone who's gonna notice it, and someone who can articulate their criticism in a constructive way, because that's the other side of things. I've had some reviews where the person made a valid point, but I was like, that's maybe not the way you go about it. Yeah.
But then Sorkor Salvation came along, and you kind of had the same thing going on with your critique. You were like, okay, like, I love Vivian's character arc, but what does she want? I remember as soon as you said, what does she want? I was like, yeah, you're right. I totally forgot or didn't think to put that kind of part of her character in there. Like, what is her end goal? Yeah.
Because everybody has one, every real person is the main character of their own story. And so that is the way I feel like when you're writing, you should be approaching your characters, even if they are a secondary character or even a side character. You don't have as much time and space to develop them. But if you can find even subtle little ways to define, what this person wants, it just makes them feel so much more rich and real. And I love that. Characters are definitely my favorite part of books.
Yeah. And this is why, like Libby and I talked about this before too, you need to have those good beta readers that are willing to actually give you criticism.
Yes.
And that every author needs to have that backbone, first of all, to take that criticism. But to have people that you trust, like I have a whole bunch of other beta readers, and like I trust them completely with whatever they're gonna throw my way.
Yeah, and that trust, that is super important. That probably is, right up there next. I would say next to, someone having an eye for, reading and, comprehension. There's reading and then there's literacy. So, you gotta have the literacy. You gotta understand what's going on. But yeah, being able to trust that person with your work in a more raw state it's a very vulnerable position to put yourself in. So if you don't trust the person that you're going to be working with, essentially, it probably is not going to be a good working relationship, and you might not get the right kind of feedback out of it.
Yeah,
and it is hard to find those people.
Too, Libby?
Yeah, I like to have readers or writers on my beta list. Like I have readers who don't care about story structure. They just like, I like this story and I need that because I need them from a reader perspective. But I always make sure I have like authors on there as well, because they understand the complexities of character arcs and motivations and all of that. So that's
they understand all of the different little threads, that you're braiding together to make this story that's good entertainment as the end product. But you're seeing it in a slightly less cooked form, and so you need that the raw form.
Gordon Ramsay, this is raw.
Still a little gooey in the middle. You need some authors in there to help you.
So what are you working on? Because you're an author, correct?
Yes, I am. I am a dark fantasy gothic Western author. I kind of take everything that I like and put it together. And one of the main, I guess, comments I get about my series, the Revere Trilogy. I have one published series at the moment, and people usually say like, this was very different. Like I've never read something quite like this before. I'm not really sure how to like classify it. And that has been my struggle this whole time with like, I don't mind that it doesn't fit into one genre, but from a marketing standpoint, that makes it really, really difficult to
But it's
like
also your writing
in.
style. Like your writing style is also very different from anything else that I've read. And like when I saw that JL was coming out with her first book, Smoke and Other Storms, which I now have a rare copy with the original cover.
Oh, the original cover, yes.
The original cover.
Maybe someday it will be a collector's item.
Hey, you never know.
You never
exactly.
know.
This is getting sealed up in a vault.
Yeah. You never know.
No, I'll read it again. I'm not going to seal it up.
So since he just showed the OG cover, this is the current cover.
You've got the awards on it too.
I got the awards on it too. Got my shiny little medallions.
I love that.
But
that's so nice.
While I did love the original cover, I got to be a part of, brainstorming how it was going to look. I also got to be involved with this one. After the book was out for, it was about a year, I started to notice in the marketing that I was doing that the cover was a little misleading to people. And so I talked to some other readers and kind of picked their brains. I'm like, okay, I'm feeling like it looks a little more romance, and it also looks a little more.
I don't see romance.
It looks a little more YA. And that worried me because this is definitely not a YA book. This is a book for adults.
See, the thing for me though is that like you talk about how this is a family of women that live on a train. And I love that you do like actually have the train in the background here, and you've got just enough
Yeah.
of like the cactus to show that it's a Western, and it does seem
Yeah.
very mysterious and dark. I do love the new cover too, don't get me wrong.
Yes, yes. I also felt like the color, I didn't love the color scheme on
Well,
the
you wanted
front
it
of that
darker.
first
You
book.
wanted it darker,
I
didn't
wanted the
you?
dark, I wanted it to be darker and warmer. So I was really excited about the poppies.
Mm,
Um, and because the colors, I guess the colors that I like as a person are those warm, earthy tones.
mm,
And one of the main descriptors when I'm talking about the Rim, which is the world that of this series, is how red everything is. Like,
mm.
you know, the dirt is
Okay.
red, the rocks are red, the cliffs are red. Later on, you end up
It's
getting to
true.
see a mining settlement where they refine some of these crystals that they use for fuel and other things. So there's tons of pollution there. The sky is kind of permanently smoky, and so the sun is blood red all the time. So black and red are symbolic colors in the series, and so
Mm.
I felt like the while that first cover was very striking, and I loved Adelaide on the front, and that I'm a little disappointed that we didn't get to keep using um, the model from
Oh
that
yes.
stock image. There were probably 10 other like photos in the series, and she had some badass poses, and I
Mm.
was really excited to get to use them. But then I decided from a marketing standpoint that the new covers better represented um, this series as a whole,
I can agree with you.
and the color scheme especially. And I guess why I feel like it's YA is I know for romance it's very common to have the couple on the front,
Right.
and for YA it is
Pining
much
for
more
each other.
common. Yes, yes, or you know the shirtless billowing long hair Fabio cover.
Yeah, right.
That's how I know what I'm
You know
getting
that's
into.
yes, exactly, like you know what you're buying, and that is what you want in a cover. And so I didn't want to be misleading my readers in any way um, with having a person on the cover, because in my genres, I'm going to say genres because there are several that I can sort of squeeze into with this series. None of them frequently have people on the cover
Okay.
or
Mm.
like prominent character art on the cover. And that was kind of my deciding factor. I was like, you know what? This doesn't look like
Yeah.
a gothic fantasy. It looks very intriguing, but if I was to see this on a shelf, I would have a different idea in my head just off the cover of what it was, and maybe be disappointed that that's not what it was if that was what I was out to buy.
Mm. It's different when you
Yeah.
have to put your mind
Covers.
into the mind of a reader,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, covers are
right? And like,
so
what is
hard.
going
So
to catch
did
my
you
eye?
pay somebody? Yeah, sorry.
Um,
Did you pay
my
someone to do your cover?
publisher, my publisher
Okay.
paid someone to do both covers, and I really did not expect them to agree so easily to redo it for me
Nice.
after one book. My because I I'm kind of a genre chameleon a little bit. Um, it is never this series is never going to be mass appeal, and so I am not one of my publishers biggest selling authors, and so I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't sure if they would want to invest again
Hmm.
redesigning ahead. So we redesigned the cover of Smoke and Other Storms ahead of the release, probably by like a few months, of Ash Like Vengeance, which is book
Which
two.
I have.
Woohoo! Look at that, we match. You'll never know. You'll never know which pose of the model that I kind of had picked out for this one.
Oh, okay. Well, you had to
And
probably get a different model, like try different models of snakes, didn't you?
no, actually, they hit
No?
on that one first shot. I had sent them
Okay.
some of my like marketing imagery because the snake is symbolic of some things that
Right.
happened in that book. So I had been using snake imagery, and I had found a couple that I really liked,
And I
and so I
love stuff
sent
like that.
them.
I really do. Like when you see something on the
Mm-hmm.
cover and you get to the certain part of the book and you're going, ah,
Ha
I've seen all that
ha!
time.
It's like it's not just some random thing that they
Yeah.
stuck on there because they thought it would
Yeah.
look good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was my
That,
publisher that paid for the covers, and yeah, they I had emailed them and kind of went through my reasons of why I wanted to redesign, and they were like, okay, like we'll talk to your editor, like we'll get back to you, and my editor was all for it. She was like, yes, absolutely, like let's do it. And so I don't know if everybody was kind of getting the same feeling that I was, or they just after like hearing what I had to say about it, they were like, "Oh, okay, like she's got a point. Sure, why not?" But yeah,
yeah. I
everybody
mean,
was on board,
it's
so we
smart for
redid
them
it,
too.
and right, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they since then have like rebranded quite a few of their other series. I am not going to take credit for that, but I was one of the first to get a redesign.
Nice.
And up
Yeah.
until the point that I had asked to redesign my cover ahead of Ash Like Vengeance's release in 2023, their policy kind of was we don't redesign until after a book has
Oh,
been out for a few years and your series is
okay.
complete, and
Hmm.
they've kind of tested the market, and either covers in the genre, what's popular has changed, or the metrics that they're getting back for sales kind of are showing that your book is lagging a little bit, and so they want to
Hmm.
give it a facelift. But
And you're with a relatively smaller press too.
mm-hmm,
Yeah.
they are. I consider myself an indie author, even though I am with a press. I have an agent, but they are a very small press, and
Yeah.
so I am responsible for most of my own marketing and whatnot. Um, it is nice that I don't have to pay for my editing and my cover, but
Mm.
any kind of additional marketing expenses outside of the budget, which is small, that they have for the series,
Can I slip you
I
a
am
book
responsible
sometime
for.
and then just send it back to me so I can put my name on it? Like a book that I already have, can I slip it to you so they can do all that and then I can just like
Mm-hmm. And then just like send it back over.
wait, this isn't her book.
Like, what? How did
When
this
did you start
happen?
writing about dinos?
Yeah. Western Dinos. Actually, that's been
Western
done.
Idaho's come on. That
That's
has
been
been
done.
done. It would be really cool if someone did it right.
Mm. Wait, it wasn't
I
done right?
It was not done right, in my opinion.
Huh. Because I've seen it with
I
like book covers of like cowboys riding velociraptors and all that
Yes,
kind of fun
okay.
stuff.
And to be fair to those books, I have not read them. I guess my only experience with westerns and dinosaurs is a movie called Cowboys versus Dinosaurs, and super super low budget, like D grade
Okay.
creature films are my
Right.
guilty pleasure. I love them mostly for how terrible they are, but this movie was probably like Z grade. It
Would you say it was
I
on
don't
par with
even.
like Velocipaster?
Oh, you told me about that one. Probably. I never saw that one, so I can't speak to it. But the movie, like the ending, literally like just cut off, and so I don't
Okay.
know if they just like ran out of money and they were like, "All right, our last shot's gonna be." The cowboy riding his velociraptor towards the camera,
What?
and behind him is like this
Okay.
herd of, other dinosaurs chasing him out of
Right.
town. And then the movie was just over, and there was probably like 3 or 4 storylines that you just kind of never figured out what happened. Nothing was resolved, and I was like, wait, that can't be the end. What?
That's
And I want to
hilarious.
say the movie was like maybe 57 minutes long. It was short.
Oh yeah, okay.
And
Okay.
yeah, it was probably the worst movie I've ever seen. But the concept itself was kind of intriguing. And so I was disappointed that everything was, and like all the characters were very generic, which is also kind of a staple of the B grade creature film. But I feel like this
Mm.
one was extra bad.
So I haven't seen
Yeah.
Velocipaster, but I have friends that have watched it, And they told me there is a scene where, so like the main character, his parents die in a horrible like car accident, and there's supposed to be like an explosion and stuff. And they told me all it does is the camera pans over to this like junker car, and it just has this sign that says we didn't have enough money for an explosion. And I'm like, okay, like I do have to watch this now.
I have to find this movie because yes, like these terrible creature films. I love them
That is amazing.
so much. Like I said, mostly for how bad they are, but I have to love that sense of humor.
And I'm just like, how do I work something like this into a book?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like, I have that middle scene I'm working. I have like this middle part of my book that covers like 15 years right now, and really it would be a 2-minute montage tops in a movie, and I have to spread it out. And I really want to just be like, picture this, and then just scene, and call it a day. Like, so bad.
I kind of
I still say
about
do it.
that. It would be a very, at least try it, write it that way, and see how it turns out, because that would be very unique. And I don't mind stuff like that kind of is unexpected in a book, as far as like the writing style. Like
you should
you
should just have like the chapter header, and then beneath it write the montage, and then just
that's even better.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
yes.
I
read, and I am unable to pronounce the author's name because it is very Icelandic, but it's called The Night Guest. It just recently was published in the US. I think it's been out in Iceland for a year or more, maybe. It's very short, but that was kind of how she did it, because the character at night, when she goes to sleep, she realizes that she is walking like 10,000 steps, like 20,000 steps during the night, but she has no memory of where she goes. And so some of the chapters, as it's showing like time passing, it's just like one sentence for a chapter, and the next page, one sentence. And yes, it was very different, but it worked, and it definitely like illustrated that like she's kind of just trudging through her daily life, but like this same weird thing keeps happening multiple nights in a row, instead of describing it in detail.
Was that
15
not turned
nights.
into a movie?
I don't think so, because it's very new, but I could be wrong about that.
Oh, you know what? I think
what is it called?
There is a movie
It's
called The Night Guest.
It's called The Night Guest. I think there is a movie called The Night Guest, but this book is called The Night Guest. The cover is pink, and then it has a goblet with red, I'm going to say blood, dripping kind of into it, drop by drop. And the cover kind of drew me in initially, because I'm like, whoa, it's bright pink, but
was
it's
the
also
author's
blood
name
on it.
Fiona McFarlane?
No, it's like
Okay.
Hildy or Hildegard, like somebody's daughter, because in Icelandic,
It's like
if you are a woman, the last name becomes like Christopherson's daughter, and then if you had a son, it would be Christopherson, which I like that. So it's not just my feminism is going to come out now. Your identity is not just being erased by all of your male relatives. You are being given your own identity while still honoring your father.
Right. Nice. I figured you two would appreciate each other. So Libby writes books with assassins.
Yes. Okay, Libby, I'm gonna need to look up your books, because I love me. I love me some assassins. I'm an Assassin's Creed junkie. And any kind of book that has an assassin in it, I'm here for it.
But your characters also do a bit of assassin-y type stuff too.
Yes. They are not professional assassins.
But they get the job done.
They get the job done. They do their own dirty work, and they are very proud of it.
I appreciate
Spoiler alert, I guess. A professional assassin does show up in the series. I will not say who they are or what they want.
I think I know which one you're talking about.
I think you do. But I had to honor my love of Assassin's Creed a little bit.
Nice. I'm excited. It's on my list. Yeah. And I'm excited because you talk about, like he said, living on a train.
Mm-hmm.
That intrigues me. Like, you could just sell me on that. Like,
And you know what I
Yeah.
love about what she did was something, again, that I've never seen before, unless it's been done before. But everything runs on, and she mentioned it earlier, crystals, like different types of crystals. And I went,
I love that idea.
okay, I see how like the fantasy part comes in, and there's other elements too. But I'm like, to
Mm-hmm.
have something run on certain quartz or crystal,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I love this idea.
That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
the fantasy in the series is subtle. And so
I
that was,
like that.
I think, the some of the more, I guess, negative reviews that I have gotten were people that were a little bit disappointed that there was not more fantasy. And I am a diehard fantasy lover. I grew up reading lots of fantasy. Um, and I do consider myself a fantasy author, but it is definitely low fantasy in this series. Like
But I think for
subtle,
what you
subtle
do,
things.
yeah, I think for what you do though, that works. For
Mm-hmm.
me,
Yeah.
it works. Like you're not getting
Yeah.
lost in, like a magic, there's being limits to magic in something or, fantastical creatures. It's,
Mm-hmm.
this is at its core a dark Western, but to have
Mm-hmm.
those fantastical elements that are just kind of, every once in a while you're reminded, oh yeah, like this quartz can do this or,
Mm-hmm.
something else. I
Like,
love that
oh,
concept.
there's like a little bit of this supernatural like essence around, and it's like, oh
I
yeah,
like that
this is
idea.
not our Wild West. Like, oh yeah, that's right. Haha.
There's definitely a market for that because not everyone wants to be like thrown into fantasy. So like my
Mm-hmm.
favorite fantasy, like my favorite genre of like guilty genre type thing is
Mm-hmm.
cozy fantasy. Cozy,
Okay.
witchy,
Yes.
yeah, like
Yes.
cozy, witchy mysteries.
Say
And
it
it's
3 times fast.
Yeah.
jeez,
But you know what I
and it's
like
very
about what
like low
what JL
key
does too,
magic.
though. Yeah, what JL does too, though, is you've got like, is it supernatural? Is it not? Like,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
she toes this certain line of, is this really what I think is happening?
Is and that was the goal, and that makes me so happy that I have pulled it off because I felt it felt to me at least like it was a very difficult thing to give just enough but not too
Mm-hmm.
much. And I wondered initially, I'm like, are people gonna pick up on this? Like, am I being too subtle? um but yes, I especially in regards to Adelaide, which is one of two point of view characters.
I love
Arguably,
Adelaide.
she is the main character of the series. The series would not be what it is without her.
Right.
And she has what she describes as her second shadow, which she calls the stranger. Um, and I really wanted it to be a little vague of
Mm.
what it was.
Yeah,
And
very vague.
some people have been mad that I didn't explain what it was or didn't
No,
explain
but
it
I
early
like
on.
that.
And people were confused and they were upset. And I was like, that's the point. I want you
Yeah.
to wonder, like, is it real or is she insane? Like,
Yeah.
does she have some kind of,
that's such a good
mental
line
illness
to
Mm.
lock.
happening? But
But she's also
obviously
technically
she
not
wouldn't be
human.
aware of it.
Like
She's not.
she's human, but it's like, I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but
Hmm.
it's just she has a certain background in how
She's a
you
little
set up your
extra.
world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's a little extra in the for the Game of Thrones fans out there, or since we're talking books, I should say A Song of Ice and Fire. Um, how the Targaryens, they are, still human, I guess, the human race, but they have the blood of the dragon, and so they are kind of this next tier.
Right.
That's kind of how Adelaide is a little bit like, yes, she's, still a human, but she is not like everybody else. She's a little different.
Sorry, Libby's got some morning sun coming in there.
Yeah, I said, like it's blinding.
You're glowing.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez,
Like,
I just can't sit back, I guess.
This podcast just became very spiritual. No.
I know.
I mean, we are talking about extra humans.
Yes,
Ah,
yes.
there you go. Libby's secretly a superhero.
If you ask
No,
someone,
but you're working on
I
the
work for
third
the
book
CIA.
now. Yeah, right.
I am working on the third book. That, to circle back around to, I think, our original line of questioning. I am currently editing the third book in the Revere Trilogy, the third and final book, because it's a trilogy. Solace by Fire. It is scheduled to release on May 13th of 2025. So I need to get my butt in gear in the next month or so and get those
You and Libby
edits
both
done. Yeah. So that's what I'm going to be working on. For about the next month. I have one of my sisters is alpha reading for me because she has been my number one true fan since I was in high school, and she would come to my room and knock on my door and say, "Hey, have you written on your story? Can I read it?"
Did she beta books 1 and 2?
She betaed 1, and then for 2, I think we were gonna. I'm trying to remember. I think we were gonna try, but she was also in grad school, so she was very, very busy, and so I know I gave her an ARC copy too after all the edits were done, but it took her a little while to get through it because she was understandably busy. But she's out of grad school now, and so yeah, she sent me some of her notes, and she has a degree in forensic chemistry, so I get to pick her brain for science, and she has given me some quality science feedback. That is something that I had not thought about, but I was like, oh my gosh, you're right. Like, someone who knows science would never do this, but I don't know science, so I thought it was okay.
Is Navy based on her? Okay, that makes more sense now. Okay.
Yeah.
I love that your sister does that. My sister was my first, she's the reason I finished my first book, because she would be the same thing. She's like, did you write anything? And she was the only person who read my work. So, I love sisters.
Yeah. They're just the best. I love them. And yeah, sisters feature prominently in my series. There are 4 sisters in the Revere family, and I am one of 4 sisters. We are not all exact matches for the characters in the story, because I had some pre-existing ideas about how I wanted the characters in the books to be, but it just happened that I decided that they needed one sister who was kind of a mad scientist. My sister is not a mad scientist, but she is a scientist.
And do not touch Navy, whatever you do.
Yes.
I have warned you.
I have been warned that if anything bad happens to her, that something bad will also happen to me.
As for myself, I am an only child, so my imaginary friend checked over my books. No. My wife has been my person for all my books. She's been always the first person to read anything that I write. So that's the closest thing. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, and that's very sweet, though.
Just to have someone in your corner that is family.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of authors where I hear, some that they write and their spouse or partner, could care less.
Right? Or their family is actually super negative towards them.
About it. This is dumb. Why are you doing that?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people on threads saying, oh, my family, they don't understand. They're super mean about this. They're basically saying, you're wasting your time. Nobody's going to want to read your stuff. And it makes me feel very, very lucky and grateful that I have always had people around me that have been super supportive of my writing.
See, my rebuttal to that, though, is if they say things like that, I guarantee you they still have a Netflix subscription, which is also art that makes money. Mm-hmm. And it took someone at some point to have that original idea that maybe started out on Wattpad or on Microsoft Word or wherever you write, whether it's a notepad, whatever. It had to start somewhere.
Right? Most most, especially if we're talking about like film, most good film started as a book.
Jurassic Park.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully Dino. No.
Yeah. No, honestly though, it would be
Yes.
your writing is so visual, and that is one of the things that I love about it. I also love that you incorporate music into your books, and so I honestly I think the series would be great as a movie. I think it would be even better as a mini series.
I've heard that before. Yeah, yeah.
I'm
I
in it
actually
for
had
the I'm
someone
in it for the
even.
mini series.
Yeah, I even had someone I've connected with him maybe I want to say a little under 2 years ago, and he does cartoons. And he actually
Well,
has
there
like a
you go.
legitimate cartoon business. He actually brought back a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle character called PandaCon
Mm-hmm.
that is very, very. I guess for the longest time, the people that own Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles didn't do anything with. So he bought the rights, and now they've got
Oh,
toys. Now they're like they've made a new cartoon for this character.
Wow.
And he
that's
approached me at one point.
amazing.
He goes, and I was nervous to jump on it because I have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to that. And he
Mm-hmm.
goes, I honestly feel like Dino Riff needs a cartoon.
I can see it. Yeah.
So we
It
may
needs it
talk
needs
at a future
something. It
date.
needs something visual, or like at
Yeah,
least to start out with a graphic novel.
I would love that too.
I yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then hopefully that person that left me a 3-star review will give it a 5.
Yes, yes, that person that was so upset that it needed to be a graphic novel. I think I remember seeing that one,
Yeah.
or maybe you posted
That was
it. But yeah,
that was a 2-star, and basically said she was upset that it wasn't a graphic novel.
so two
Everything
stars.
else was fine.
I hate everything else
Oh
is
my gosh.
great, but I hate the medium that it's in. So.
Yeah, but honestly,
I don't
there was like
understand
so
people.
much positive stuff
Right?
in her
The whole
review.
thing was positive. It was that she loved it, basically. The only thing she was mad about was that she had to read words instead of look at pictures.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I don't.
In my heart, it's a 4-star.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think you could even bump that up to, in your heart, it is a 5 star.
Probably.
star.
Yeah.
She just couldn't admit it.
Yeah. Yeah. That was funny though, because she signed up for an arc.
Really?
And that's what I got in return. I'm
So-
like, I
so
gave
you-
it to you
so
as an
you
arc,
knew-
as an
You knew
ebook.
what you were getting. Like, wasn't
Yeah.
that even that you, like, didn't realize what it was and bought it? But even then, I'm like, that's kind of on you for not realizing what you were buying before you bought it. Or
Yeah.
at least as far as not realizing that it wasn't a graphic novel, because that should be pretty obvious.
That could be.
Content-wise, you don't know what you're buying until you read it. But graphic novel versus, novel, you should be able to
Yeah.
figure that out.
If I had
Yeah.
the cash to throw around, I would love to make it a graphic novel.
Someday,
Just
start
But one
saving
day.
those dollars. Yeah.
Yeah.
You could
Guess I'll
doodle
have to
it.
stop buying more whiskey.
You could doodle it like
I could totally see
one.
it.
I'm gonna. I don't know the style of the art in Full Metal Alchemist. Not the manga, the anime, where it like is super
Yeah.
like scribbly in some scenes,
Yeah.
and like I was really intrigued by the story, and I wanted to like it, but because the animation kept switching, it weirded my brain out, and I couldn't watch it. I was like, I can't look at this. Like, one scene looks this way, and the next scene looks this way, and I just can't. But
Yeah.
one of the styles is very just like kind of like scribbly and messy, like a kid did it. So I mean, I'm sure you can do better than that.
You know what style I actually really liked was the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, Mutant Mayhem, where it was all
I haven't seen
done. It was all done by, honestly, like paint. There was one section where it's a flashback, and it's all done in crayon.
Ooh.
And I'm like, this is
That's
fantastic.
different.
Like,
Yeah.
this is the
See, you
new
could
one
do
that Seth Rogen did.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I had in my mind. That I was like, I think this is the one he's talking about, but I never saw it.
Everything
so.
was hand drawn, frame by frame.
Okay,
and
so
it was such a
not
unique take.
It was not CGI, like
No.
even things that look hand drawn now, most of them
Yep.
are CGI. So it was like OG cartoon style,
Yeah.
hand drawn frame by frame.
Oh, totally.
Wow.
I
How
love
long did that take them?
I can't remember, but I know my cousin and I went with a couple of friends, and my cousin, so he did the sketches for Sorcore Salvation and the new Primeval Ranch.
Mhm.
And he's like, I've already seen this, but but I have to see it again just because he's an artist and he appreciated
Okay.
the time it would have taken to make this entire
Yeah.
movie.
I'm not an artist,
And
and I'm impressed.
yeah, like I came out of it going, this was brilliant. Like even the banter, they made the turtles actually sound like teenagers with their banter. The villain was great. Jackie Chan voices Splinter, and like the rat, and if I have the name of the character correct, and I laughed my head off because they actually gave him basically Jackie Chan moments in the film. I'm like, this Jackie
Oh, I
Chan
love
is
that.
just
Yeah.
in rat form.
Yes. If Jackie Chan is reincarnated as a rat.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was great.
Oh, I love that. But your cousin did all the sketches for the series. You have an artist in the
Except
family.
Dino
You
Rift.
can. Oh, okay, except for Dino Rift. But you can bring your cousin in to do the graphic novel.
I think I need to talk to him more and
I
see
think you do. Yeah.
see how
Like,
much he's able to do.
you have a network of people here. Make this happen and get that 2-star review bumped up to a 5-star review.
That would be your first ARC reader. You'd have to send one back out. Like, I'm sorry. This is what you wanted.
Yeah,
Yes.
right. I think I still
Sorry,
have
my
their email.
mistake.
My mistake.
So
It
what's
only been
this in
5
my
years,
email?
but I fixed it.
Yeah.
Then I'll just sit by my Goodreads. Is it 5 yet? Is it 5 yet?
Yeah.
I never check my Goodreads.
I actually
get my
just saw
reviews.
with the cover release of Primeval Ranch today, I already have a 5-star review on Goodreads for
I
Primeval.
saw that. Yeah, I was like,
whoa. Of course,
what?
she was a beta.
Somebody
but-
reviewed it. Yeah. But I saw that on there this morning or this afternoon. Whenever I looked at it, I am a little bit of a masochist in the way that I like to check it more often than I should and be like, ooh, did someone leave me a good review? Did someone leave me a bad review?
Obsessive compulsive.
Yeah. No self-control.
I was like that very on as a new author.
Yeah, it was worse at the beginning. Yeah, when Smoke and Other Storms, like the first week it was out, and that was when I was getting a lot of reviews. And there was a good, I think, like 4-day period where I had nothing but 5 stars. I was like, yes, I got a perfect score. And
awesome.
then I got some 4s and 3s, and it ruined it. So
Oh.
that's what I get for checking it obsessively.
But how have you learned to maybe take those lower ratings and turn it into something positive?
Honestly, they don't bother me that much because I went into this project with the mindset that I am writing this for me. And so as long as I have kept that in mind, I really haven't had like a soul crushing moment. I have yet to get a 1-star review, I'm pretty sure. My lowest is a 2.
Made it yet.
I know. I was like, I'm kind of disappointed at this point. Like I was like, I'm not a real author. I don't have any 1-star reviews. And I also
She's a fake. No.
fraud, get out.
I'm kidding.
No, my lowest I think is a 2. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure. And they didn't leave like a written review. It was just a rating. So I'm like, well, I don't know what you're mad about. But I think my most negative one was one of the people that, they didn't like how vague a lot of like the fantasy was, and they said in their review like, 3 stars seems a little high, 2 stars seems a little mean, like kind of like in there at like a 2.5, and it was like, we know this is this author's first book, like hopefully they'll do better, but it just was meh. And I'm like, okay, that's fair. And I don't remember like the specifics of it now, but they were specific about a couple of things, and I think that was the only one that stung a little bit, where I was kind of like, you just didn't get it, like. But other
Maybe
than
they were
that,
speed reading.
Exactly, and I have beef with those people. But when I have expressed my feelings about those people, the internet gets mad, and so I have decided I know, imagine that, shocking, Bookstagram being petty and mad about being called out. But yeah, so I've just decided to let them do their speed reading, and the people who, pretend to read 2 800-page fantasy books over the course of, a day or two, which I think is, I don't care what kind of a genius you are, there is a physical limit that you reach if you're listening to audiobook. You can only make it go so fast, and you can only, flip the page so fast. I'm like, there is a limit, and these books you're talking about are thick. And so the math just isn't mathing, in my opinion, but they don't like it when I've pointed that out.
Yeah, when I hear people are speed readers, I start asking them questions. Like, what was this character's name?
Right? Like, why? Like, why? It's not a race. Like, are you even enjoying it? Like, and to me, those are the people that are just kind of like doing it for the attention. Like, oh, look at all these books I've read. Look at how fast, I read all of it. But I'm like, are you even enjoying it? Like, why?
Like people who eat really fast. Like, did you even taste it?
Right? Did you even taste it? Did it, did it touch your tongue, like, at all?
Like, did you just put it in a smoothie and drink it down?
Right? Like, why not, just drink it through a tube. It'll be even faster that way. Like,
see,
because,
there's a video for you. You take some random book from like a secondhand store, you throw it in a blender, and you pretend to drink it like a smoothie, and put at the top POV speed readers.
That would be
okay. There's your next TikTok.
I would have many people attacking me.
How many people are enraged?
I've made TikTok angry before.
Yeah.
I have.
Well, you know how to
TikTok
handle
angry,
it now.
So maybe I should do
it. Libby, you haven't lived if you haven't made TikTok angry.
I gave up on TikTok, but I have made. I don't remember where I made. I think it was maybe on Threads. A comment, an offhanded comment about speed readers, and people were mad. But not to the level where I think they tried to cancel me. But also, they can go ahead and try. I'm not famous enough for that really to matter.
Well, you're famous to me. She's the JL Delavega, everybody.
It's true.
Yes.
The
one and
only.
Honored to have a moment of her time to be on with us today.
Oh. This has been fun, though.
This has been.
I gotta say, for like a first episode, I like this. I was so nervous before this. I don't know why.
Oh, you were?
I was nervous. I don't know. Like, I'm eating supper and I'm just kind of going like, yeah, this is our first episode. Like, it really started to sink in.
It's official.
And I've been telling everybody, like, I've never been a host. I've always been the guest, but never as like, the actual host or co-host.
I don't. This feels legit, and I like we were talking about at the beginning. I like the organic atmosphere of just having a conversation, and it's kind of nice to just have it be recorded too, because everything else I've done has been live, and there is a certain amount of pressure when it's live because people are watching, and if you say something weird, like it's on, it's out there, people like heard it, even if they edit it out of the conversation later on.
Like, yep. No, I like this. And then we have clips. I'll send you guys all the clips for you guys to put up so that forever you have some marketing stuff you can pull out of the recesses.
Oh, cool.
Love it. Yes. And you guys have at least one listener. I mentioned it to my friend yesterday because she was asking, what I was doing tonight. And I'm like, well, I'm going on a podcast. And she was like, what? I need to listen to this. So...
Is this a friend you've had for a while, or since you moved, you kind of made a new friend?
Since I moved, I made a new friend, and it was one of those things. We were on a hike together, and first time meeting her, and I just knew immediately. I was like, I like you. Like, I want to be your friend.
Nice. Have you seen any more dinosaurs, like footsteps in the ground where you are?
Not any new ones. There is an area where there are. I had a paleontologist that was at the garden center taking a casting of one of the ones that they have there. Yeah. And so I was standing there watching him, and then like we started talking, and he was telling me about this area where there's supposedly tons, and like there are some that are marked, but they are so subtle. I'm like, if this was not marked, it would just look like a rock with like little pits and scratches in it. So I'm like, if I could have walked on one and not even known it, because I am no paleontologist. But yeah, I live in southern Utah, which is the area that Dino Rift is set in. The neighborhood that is like right next to mine is called Dinosaur Crossing.
Oh, cool.
And like Fossil.
Wait, how did I not
Fossil
find
Ridge.
that?
Yeah, and so there are lots of dino things around here, and there are fossilized dinosaur tracks in the area. A lot of them, unfortunately, have been destroyed just from weather, or there's a lot of off-roading in this area. And, you know, so if they're not found and saved in time, they're just gone.
But wait, though, so like the actual town is called Dino Crossing?
No, that's just like the little like neighborhood, like local name that like the grocery store is like. If you're talking about the grocery store that is on this side of town, it's like, oh, it's the Dinosaur Crossing, such and such. Okay. So people know it's that one versus the other one that's on the other side of town.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I love how Libby was kind of confused there for a second. She's like, wait, what? Dinosaur tracks?
Yeah, I was very confused.
Janaea found a time rift.
Mm-hmm. I did, and I saw the dino tracks. Honestly, though, if I found a time rift, I don't think I would go in because like as fun as dinosaurs are to read about, they scare me a little bit.
What about mine? Because mine are kind of different.
That's true. That's true. Yours are not so much the Jurassic Park dinosaurs.
I don't think I would
they were like. Yes. I love Triceratops. So if I was to encounter a Triceratops, I would want it to make it my friend. And then so it would trust me enough, and then it would let me ride it. That would be my dream with with finding a rift. I want to ride a Triceratops. With my cowboy hat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Of course.
Or what's the other one that's like a Triceratops, but it has the big horn?
Oh, the
pop quiz. But anyways, that one, if I could have that one, then you could.
Wait, are you talking the horn or like the domed head?
With it. Not the domed head. There's one that has like maybe it's 3 horns. I don't know. It's something similar to a Triceratops, but it has a horn, and I would want that one if I was in a realm where I needed to fight things, because then you could teach it to stab.
Because like there are woolly rhinos. There's the woolly rhinos.
Yeah, it's not that. It's something else. Yeah, I can see it in my mind. I didn't just make it up. I know it was real at some point. And side note, you know, stabbing things with horns. Narwhals are one of my favorite whales, and my only beef with them is that they don't jump out of the water and stab fishermen with their horn.
Yeah, they're too complacent.
Yeah, come on. Put that horn to good use.
There you go. So,
do they stab anything at all?
I don't think they do. I think it's just decorative.
What's the point of having a stabby thing on your head if you're not going to use it?
Right? I don't think they use it to hunt. Like, unless one stabs the fish and then it feeds it to the other one off the end of its horn, and that's how they bond. I don't know.
Romantic.
That'd be right. Wouldn't that be so romantic? Like they're on a little narwhal date, and the male is feeding the female off his horn. So sweet.
That.
I caught something for you.
Yes. Open up, darling. I
caught you a sweet bass.
Yeah.
It's probably like if the 2 males are fighting for a female.
Probably.
There's probably like some underwater jousting happening.
Probably, or like a sign of like hierarchy, you know, like the bigger your horn, you know, the more respect you have, like, or to attract a mate. I don't know. I feel like it's decorative, but I'm disappointed that it's not a weapon.
I really hope that this podcast reaches someone who's like a marine biologist and they can like chime in with the real answer.
With the real answer, or they'll just be there shaking their head like, you fools.
That's okay too.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So we've already covered if you were to go through a time rift. Do you feel like you could actually survive in the world that you've written?
Ooh. Honestly, I'm going to be 100% honest. I don't think so. I think I would die quickly. Okay. I guess there's two answers and 2 scenarios.
You've thought about this before. I can tell.
I have. Were I born into that world, I think I could survive. If I was to tomorrow wake up in that world, I would definitely try. But I think that either very quickly I would like accidentally drink bad water or something, you know, an Oregon Trail style,
Fair.
like die of something really stupid, like dysentery.
Died of dysentery.
Right? It would be something stupid that kills me, or I would like be way too excited, like to be evil because you could get away with it, and like I guess overestimate myself and cross the wrong person very fast and end up dead. So yeah, I really
Yeah, you've definitely written a lot of like very, I don't know, like very dark individuals that you don't know whether you can trust them or not.
Mm-hmm.
And you've done a very good job of it, I will say.
Well, thank you.
Very
Thank
good
you.
job.
I have tried to make it what I feel would be realistic with this world that I have set up, and that is why I did take it in a dark direction a few times here and there, because I'm like, this, if I'm gonna write this, I don't want to sanitize it. Like I don't want to be gross and gratuitous, but this is how it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
that's
any
important.
Western, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just,
And that, yes, that's kind of what you are expecting with a Western too. You're not
I
you're not in it for, you know, if you want something cozy that's going to make you feel good at the end, yes, you read you know, a cozy fantasy. You don't pick up a Western and think, oh, I hope this has a happy ending and nothing bad happens to anyone that I love.
which
I've never
I feel like,
read a Western. I've watched them, but
oh
I've never
yeah.
read one.
So I
Yeah.
believe she had some marketing at some point where you actually had it say, "This is not your grandpa's Western."
Oh yes, I
Yeah,
think I did. Yeah,
right. Yeah,
because that's my beef with
which
the
my grandpa did
Western.
used to read Westerns.
Yep, my grandpa did too. Well, my
Yeah.
beef with the Western genre is how it treats its female characters and
Oh,
how it, you know,
yes.
I think the genre is doing better, but traditionally also how the Western genre has treated the indigenous population.
Right.
And
Which you kind of touch on
so
in your books too, though.
a little bit, but I wanted to make it fantasy. So there is
Yep.
racism that um, happens in this world, but I didn't feel like it
You
was
created
my
your own race.
story. I created, yes, I
Yeah.
created my own race. I didn't feel like it was my place to try to step in and tell this story from an indigenous perspective.
Which I think the
And
way you did it
I
was
didn't want to
very
take a
tasteful.
voice. I didn't want to take a voice away from other people who deserve to have their voice to tell, you know, their story. I definitely tried to be tasteful. It was probably the thing I was most nervous about, was
No,
how
I
that would
honestly,
be
I think you did a great
perceived.
job with that.
Um, I I did get a sensitivity reader before before my agent um, started sending out Smoke and Other Storms on submission. That was my agent's advice to, you know, let's get a sensitivity reader. You know, let's make sure that there's not something we aren't picking up on because this has not been our experience. And that reader did a great job. They felt that I was accurate in how you know, racism and sexism would kind of play out in this type of society. That sensitivity reader also hated Adelaide so much.
Really?
They hated her. They did not enjoy the story. I think they were, I don't know if they were confused about what they thought it was going to be, or it was just wasn't what they would normally like to read, or wasn't what they were hoping. But yeah, they were so upset that it was not a romance and that Adelaide was such a mean and angry woman.
That's intriguing.
Yeah, and honestly, that person's feedback was probably some of the most negative that the series has gotten, other than, the few reviews here and there that were like, oh, it just wasn't what I thought it was going to be, or it didn't meet my expectations. But yeah, that reader was like, mm-mm, this girl sucks.
Hmm. Well, you know what? That's just another, like, I've always heard the saying of, you could be, or maybe in this case, your book could be the most beautiful apple on the tree. There's always going to be someone that just doesn't like apples,
Exactly. And
right?
I was like, all right, you are not the target audience. And also, I'm like, you're kind of missing the point. She is not necessarily supposed to be a likable person. She is a product of her environment.
Yeah.
And yeah, she is an angry woman.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's got some beef with a lot of people, and I like it.
I
I
love
do
that you did
too.
a sensitivity reader too,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because there is so much, and I mean, the Novel Network, we talk about collaboration and all of that, but collaborating with sensitivity readers and beta readers and people who can give you that other aspect to make sure your best
Hmm.
product is coming forward is
Hmm.
clutch.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Super, super helpful because, yeah, I've only lived the experiences of my life, so everything that I, read and think is going to be framed, from that experience. And so there are definitely things that I'm going to miss. And so, yeah, having that outside perspective, for many things is very helpful.
Yeah. I, for the first time, officially used actually a couple sensitivity readers, because characters in Primeval Ranch are Mexican American. So, like, I tried to throw some Spanish words in there, and I put something out on Facebook. I went, I've got these characters. Could somebody please read through this and just let me know, is this okay or is this not? Or if I make these little jokes, is that okay? Do you think that's going to be offensive? And like, I always try to be, non-offensive. It's just still using people that are in the regular world.
Hmm.
And I actually got some great feedback from some of the words I was using, just as like kind of like Spanish expletive, like Dios
Hmm.
mío or something like that.
Hmm.
And some of them actually said, actually, you could probably use this word here and still have the same kind of effect, but it's different than having to use Dios mío all the time.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. A little more, I guess, neutral for the
Yeah,
for the younger audience, or
yeah,
the Spanish speakers.
yeah,
And I love that you did that. Like, you were,
Yeah.
doing your research and being respectful, and trying to not stereotype people.
yeah. Well, as the books you've read that I've done too, like I don't like to put really anything political or like racist in my books, because I
Hmm.
just want to have kids going on an adventure.
Yeah,
That's like the
Yeah.
core of what I try to
yeah.
do.
The
So, but
world
if
is so
there's
negative, and to have that escapism,
yeah,
I think is super, super important.
yeah. So, hopefully, I'm curious to see how people will like Primeval Ranch. I'm super
Hmm.
excited. I actually had someone say to me today, "Wait, you have a character named Ernie in your book?" And I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "That's actually one of the names that I named one of my twins." And I'm
Oh,
like, "Oh, because you don't hear that name
Oh,
too often these
yeah, I was
days."
gonna say, like, I didn't realize that there was anybody maybe younger than like 50
Yeah, and
around
I was
today that was named Ernie.
yeah, and he like the character is an elderly widower in
Hmm.
the book, and I was on TikTok Live talking about it, and she actually was someone that helped me with the cover release today, and she's actually putting like tear emojis in the comments, and I'm going like, why are you sad? And she's like,
Hmm.
I've never seen the name Ernie in a book.
that's so
Aw,
funny. I have an Ernie in
that's
my book.
funny.
Do you really?
I
I
love
do.
it.
I love that.
He's like not old, but he's an older gentleman who's like super protective of my main character.
Okay.
Aw, I
He's
love
like a
that. So
big
yes,
daddy
it
figure.
sounds like a very like sweet grandpa name. Um, I
Yeah.
I'm feeling a little left out of this Ernie club now. I'm sorry
Well,
to
it's not
all
too
the
late.
Ernies
You could
out
throw
there.
an
I don't
Ernie in
have
book
names. I
3.
could I could throw an Ernie in there, but he will
Let's
probably
bring back the
meet
name.
a horrible, horrible end.
Even if it's
So
just a
the
cameo.
Ernies might not like that, right? And
Yeah.
then we'll know Easter
Yeah.
egg,
I'll
when
be
you
reading
see it,
along,
be like,
and I'll
oh
be like,
my gosh, there's
there's
Ernie.
Ernie.
Haha.
Most of my characters meet a very sticky end, so
Mm.
I'm here for
most of
that.
them don't
I'm gonna
make it
need to
out.
look up your books after this.
Yes.
I love this, bringing people together.
Yes, through violence
Readers and
against,
authors alike.
fictional
Yes.
characters.
The
Or the
collaborations.
murder.
Yes, and I love
Yeah.
that in the middle of our like blood and knives and daggers sandwich, we have Derek, who is very creating these very wholesome,
We need the
adventures.
balance.
Yes,
Don't
we
forget,
need
I
the
mean,
balance.
Dino Rift, you still have actually two people that get their hands bitten off.
That's
So, like,
true.
stuff does
That's true.
happen.
Stuff does happen. It's just it is not so, I guess, bitter going down.
Heartbreaking.
Actually,
Yeah.
Janaea, I think you're going to appreciate, there's a chapter in Primeval Ranch where a couple and their friends go camping in Finland. And their whole group gets taken down by giant centipedes.
Yes. Because I told you about my love for creature films.
Yeah.
The hapless camping trip that ends in tragedy.
My one beta reader,
I'm
she
excited.
goes, after I read that chapter, I had to put my phone down and actually just breathe for a few minutes.
Yes. Oh, I am so excited. My evilness is rubbing off
Yeah.
on me. So happy.
We'll corrupt him.
We gotta stop
don't
talking.
worry.
Yes. We will corrupt him, and then eventually you will write, a dark and disturbing assassin book, or something.
Well, I've already been teasing.
We'll get you over here. We'll get you over here on the dark side.
I've already been teasing through my series, The Bug Collector.
Yes.
I have mentioned him in
Please
Sorecore.
make it gruesome.
And the next thing he's going to be collecting is prehistoric spiders called Megarachne.
Oh dear.
Libby,
I'm scared already.
It has to happen. The 2 foot long leg span has to happen.
Yes.
So gross.
I think you could even go like maybe pushing 3 feet.
It's possible.
I think so.
It's possible.
There is a point in book 3 that it was probably one of like the top 3 parts that I am most excited for people to read. I can't say what it is or when it is because it will spoil things, but my sister, who is the chemist, my Navy, I guess we'll call her, she came up with the idea, and it is brutal. And I told her, I was like, I wish I had thought of this first. This is savage and it is brilliant, and it breaks this character when this event happens. And I was like, yes, I can't believe I didn't see this coming. I'm like, this is the perfect outcome.
Hold on. I think I know what your plan is. If my author brain is telling me anything from what I've read in your series, are you going to Resident Evil someone?
No comment.
Okay. Okay.
We'll talk later.
Okay. All right. You've got a little smirk on your face
Yes,
there. No.
yes.
That is an off
But it's funny though.
conversation.
Yeah, off record. That's fine.
Yeah.
As dark as your world is that you've written, your sweater has some pretty cute cats on the front.
It does. This is I think my trademark sweater. This is the 3rd version of it that I bought because I wore my other ones so much. They were all like covered in pills and been washed so many times they were not comfy anymore. It has these cute little cats on it, but it says Cats Against Catcalls.
Oh.
And I love this.
I didn't see the bottom. That's awesome.
Sweatshirt so much, and every time I wear it out, women come up to me and they say like, I love your shirt. I love your shirt. And yeah, I just love it. But apparently I have worn it so many times that in every single Zoom meeting that I have had with my current agent, I have been wearing this sweatshirt. And the last time I talked to them, they were like, I think you were wearing that the last time we talked. And I did not remember, but they did. And it left an impression on them.
Nice. But you have how many cats?
I have two cats,
Right.
two black cats. They are brothers. One of them has smooth fur, so I call him Smooth Angus. He is the type of cat that could he play poker or any other card games, he would definitely cheat. He's a little too smart for his own good, so he is the naughty one. Like anyone who owns cats knows, there's one that is just the googly-eyed little idiot that is happy to be here, and then there is the sneaky, devious one. So Angus is the sneaky, devious one. Owen is his brother. He has long hair. They're from the same litter, both black, but it makes it easy to tell them apart because one is very fluffy and the other one is not. But yeah, Owen is my sweet baby, the googly-eyed little idiot who is just happy to be here.
We love them regardless.
Yes, we love them regardless. And
we've been saying.
And when you were first talking to me, Derek, about coming on here, and you mentioned you and Libby were hosting a podcast, for a second I was like, you and Libby the cat, and then I realized Libby was not, that this Libby is
I think that would also be a very interesting podcast.
Right, and for a second I was almost disappointed, but I am not disappointed anymore now that we have met. But
thank you.
I don't think this would be quite the same energetic conversation if it was, Libby the cat.
Yeah, she'd be sleeping by now.
Yeah, how much she would have to say about books and such.
Yeah. For those who don't know, who are listening, I have a Siberian cat that is my little princess. All my life, I never had cats. And now that I have a cat, I'm like, how did I ever live without one? Plus, I'm also allergic, but a Siberian is hypoallergenic. And Libby Weber and I were talking the other day, and I said, so is my Libby like our mascot for this podcast? And
she should
Libby
be.
said, I just assumed she already was.
Yes, she should be. And you could start, incorporating her into every episode in some capacity, or, you could get her to do some vocalizations, that you could, when you guys sign off at the end of every podcast, you could have the recording of Libby signing off in her little yowl when she's hunting her toys.
Libby, are you writing notes right now?
She does have it. She does have an impressive idea.
You're like, I like this
growl.
idea.
Yeah.
Let's get a cat in here.
Yeah, come on. Do it for the cat people. I feel like I would be much more likely to listen to a podcast if I knew that there was going to be a cat involved.
I love cats. My cat, we had to put my cat to sleep like 6 years ago.
Aww.
I know. And then we didn't get another one because we were moving to Japan. And international travel with the military and pets is...
Right.
It's probably an extra. If you can only bring 4 mugs, bringing a pet is probably a little more trouble.
Yeah, it's expensive.
And you probably have to have permits and stuff, or at least, documentation.
A lot of documentation. And then so this is our second time here. The first time our cat was supposed to come with us and something happened with our flights and we had to leave my cat home. And I was just thankful that we were staying with my sister because they switched our flights. There's no spot for our cat. And they're like, sorry. And I was like, that's my first kid.
That's like telling someone, oh, sorry, you can't bring your child with you.
Yeah, I was devastated. But
oh my gosh.
Kozo stayed with my sister. And we were going to then pay to fly him out. And my sister's like, I don't think he'd do very good on the flight. Actually, I'll just hold on to him for the 3 years you're gone. I'm like,
she wanted him. Yes. She stole your child. My other child, my other fur child, I guess my OG fur baby, his name is Klaus. He is an orange cat. He is the orange cat that got all of the collective brain cells that all of the other orange cats lack. Because, that is the running joke that orange cats only have one brain cell. Klaus has the other, thousands that they should have all had. So he is very, very smart. He is probably 13 now. I'm losing track, and he is an outdoor cat, and that is a long time for an outdoor cat,
That's
especially
amazing.
one that likes to fight as much as he has. Now he's older, so he's kind of slowed down. He doesn't go out scrapping as much as he used to. But when I moved across the country, I am living in an apartment now, and so I rehomed him to my sister because she has a nice backyard for him to be in. But yeah, I do miss my Klaus every now and then. He is the sweetest. He does not like other cats so much either, so that would have been an issue with the new babies. But yeah, he is missing pieces out of his ears from all of the fights he's had over the years.
No.
He would come home sometimes with like, a chunk bitten out of his neck, and I was, always just like, oh my gosh, this is it. Like, you're going to die. And
Nope.
yep.
Just held on.
Nope. He's like, not today.
We have like 10,000 cats that live in our neighborhood. So Okinawa has a ton of stray cats. Libby.
Speaking of, she just came over to see
Libby.
me.
Oh,
Hi.
Oh my
she is the
gosh.
most beautiful marshmallow you have ever seen.
She's sitting here like, I hate being on camera.
She's like, let go of me.
Oh, what's the matter, huh?
Aw.
What a sweet girl.
You actually
But
stink.
yeah, we have
Did
a
you just use your
ton of
litter?
cats. I just pretend they're mine.
And I love that. I know. I was like, I'm a little jealous right now. I didn't know that I wanted to live in Japan for the cats, but now I want to live in Japan for the cats. And also, isn't Japan where that Bunny Island is, where it's that little island that just has thousands of rabbits?
Yeah. I haven't been because I'm allergic to rabbits.
Oh,
Really?
that's sad. But I feel like I need to go just to go see all the cats and the rabbits.
I've actually never heard of a rabbit allergy.
Yeah, it's the dander. I'm allergic to cats too, but I just sucked it up because I loved my cat.
Yeah, you just deal with it. I'm allergic to my Christmas tree, but I love Christmas trees, and so I got one anyhow, and I've just been congested for the last month. But it's worth it.
So what has been your favorite part of the entire journey of creating your books so far?
Ooh, that is a really good question. I would have to say my favorite part is the part that is most satisfying to me, is when I have, collected enough little ideas and gotten them down on a page, and it's kind of that like middle stage where I actually start to see a real book happening, and it's not just, a bunch of random chapters, and a bunch of, just stuff happening all over the place. But yes, like you get to that middle point and you're like, this is actually like a story, and then you get to start like picking it apart and making it better. And it's like you're getting to play in your world because you've done the really hard work of creating your world and kind of, setting everything up. And then all that's done and you're like, all right, now I just get to have fun.
So you're like a true plotter.
I guess I don't really think of myself that way, but I have found that I get my most efficient work done when I do have a good outline and I'm following it. But the problem becomes that sometimes I don't know what's going to happen next. And so I'm like, well, since I don't know what's going to happen, I guess I just have to kind of pants it and figure it out. But yes, you get to that kind of like middle point and you're like, all right, I do know what needs to happen next. And then it snowballs and it becomes kind of effortless. And that's what I live for. I hold out for those moments when it almost like the story is writing itself.
Yeah, that feels so good when you finally, even if you're
Yes.
having a hard time with a scene, and then you're finally going, yes, I know exactly where this needs to go.
Like, yes, this is it. Like, I hit my stride, and that's what I hold out for, because I know that moment is coming around again eventually, even if it takes a while. In those moments when writing is really hard, and I'm sitting there, and I'm questioning all of my life choices. I'm like, why am I doing this? This is no fun. I'm so frustrated. Like, I hate all of this. My writing sucks. All of these characters suck.
And then you go into creative burnout.
Yes, exactly. But I'm starting to, I guess, have a different. I guess my perspective on it has changed now since becoming a published author, where this is a little bit more of a job versus a hobby. This is my second job. I come home from my day job and I make time to work on my writing. And not that I don't enjoy it, but it's not, I guess, always fulfilling because it's a job. Yes. And so there are those days where it's just like, I don't have anything left in me. You know, I can sit here and stare at this blank page on my computer for a couple of hours, but if nothing's happening, why keep sitting there? So I'm trying to train myself in those moments that it's like, okay, it's okay to get up and not work on it today, and not feel guilty for not working on it either.
Yeah, because your brain sometimes
you definitely
just
have to give
needs
yourself
time
grace
to like process. Because sometimes I'll be on a walk in a shower, usually driving. I'm like,
yes, it's always when you're driving. In the shower,
I
driving.
know it's supposed to always in the shower and driving. I have one moment that like solidified the story that I didn't know why it happened. I just knew it had to be in there. And it was like 2 a.m. I was taking a shower and I was like, oh, like super loud. My husband's like, are you okay? I'm like, figured out the plot hole. Yes. I'm a genius.
I'm good.
It's fine.
the joys of living with a writer.
So random.
But I love that though, and that is another one of my favorite moments too, when like, yes, that unexpected inspiration hits you, and it's like, yes.
Yeah, I truly feel like a genius in that moment. Like, I live for that.
You just get that spark. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Love it.
And then
you ride it like it's adrenaline.
Yes. And then you share it with people and they're like, I don't understand it. I'm like, you don't have to. It's fine.
Yeah. You don't have to. I do. Just
this is
be
my
happy
world.
for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just be excited. So this has been absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us. Because I know we've been on for a while, so we'll wrap it up so you guys can. I have a whole day ahead of me. You guys, I know it's dipping into the night.
I gotta go play with my cat.
Yeah, I gotta go play with Libby. I should probably play with my cats too. I was gone the first half of the day at work, and they were letting me know when I right before I got on here that they were unhappy that I still was not playing with them. And I don't know if you noticed, maybe like about an hour ago, one of them almost knocked over
I noticed
the
something
tripod,
moved your camera.
And I caught it, and it was one of them down there like messing with the cord. Thankfully,
come on, Mom.
Like, come on, what are you doing? Stop talking to your phone and look at me.
So where can our listeners find you?
Yes, you can find me on Instagram or on Threads at Ninjanea Author. You'll probably put that in the description somewhere. I could spell it for you, but I might even spell it wrong, trying to spell it off memory. Okay. You can also find me at jldelavega.com. I have a little author store there, Smoke and Other Storms. My first book is currently sold out on my website, so if you want to buy a copy, it is available from Amazon. I know, Bazan, you got to support the Bezos.
Your TikTok is still operational.
Oh, is it? Okay, so
I'm
still there on TikTok. I just don't post anymore. So feel free to follow me, but you probably won't see anything new. I have found that Instagram has been my most successful platform. It's the one I prefer, and so I have decided to let myself off the hook with, doing other social medias that I don't like.
Hey, if it works, stick with it.
Yeah, exactly. But yes, I also have some very sassy stickers for sale on my website. This one says, "My skincare is the blood of the patriarchy." So yeah, if you need some sassy stickers,
hold on.
you can DM.
I need that.
Yes, you should message me because sadly, with shipping rates being what they are, I only ship to the US and Canada at the moment, but I'm sure we can
So
work out a deal.
technically, I have a U.S. address because it's a military
Oh,
post. So I will message you.
perfect, perfect,
Okay.
perfect. So yeah, you can go
I
to
learned that the hard way.
So shipping's expensive.
Your around the world place delivery.
The books that had a grand voyage.
Oh,
No,
they
honestly,
went
that
on
was fun.
they
Everything
went
worked
on
out in the end.
their own quest. Yes, so I'm working on adding more stickers to the store in the next year because I love me some sassy stickers. I'm known by all my coworkers at work for my water bottles that have stickers all over them. But yes, I still have a few copies of Ashley Vengeance Book 2 for sale on there.
Nice.
Shameless self promotion.
Actually, one thing
No
we didn't
shameless
touch on was like you do write books, but what do you do as your day job?
Oh,
yeah.
I am a massage therapist.
All right.
Yeah, so I am an LMT. I get to put letters after my name. I feel so very fancy when I was actually
Love it.
thinking about that earlier today. It kind of just hit me randomly. I was like, yeah, I have letters after my name. So LMT stands for licensed massage therapist. Um, my dream would still be to be a full-time author, but I do love my day job. It is so rewarding to get to go to work and have people be happy to see you and to make people feel
Right.
better, even if it's just for the hour or hour and a half that I work on them.
Well, technically, you might like hurt them to make them feel better,
I might hurt
but
them a little bit. Yeah, I might. I try. My philosophy with massage is that more isn't always better. And this is
right.
what I tell people. You get to the point where you actually start damaging tissue with too much pressure. So I like to kind of stay in the middle, but occasionally I do have to hurt someone just a little bit.
I sent you the
But
picture of
they
when
feel
I
better
had cupping
afterwards.
done, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
I do love some cupping, and because it's so visual.
yeah, for
And
those who don't
fun
know,
fact,
yeah,
fun fact
I
about cupping. If someone is a smoker and they get cupping, smoke residue will start to come out of their skin. You get this
what?
gray,
What?
oily residue almost that
Really?
starts to come out of their pores, and it is so disgusting, but so cool at the same time.
That's
Oh my
crazy.
gosh.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Science is incredible.
Oh, science. So yeah, but
Wow.
cupping does leave some pretty gnarly bruises on people.
Oh,
So don't get it done
I
before your
love
wedding,
cupping.
or you're gonna
right.
go on
Or you're gonna
vacation
go
and
to
be
the
wearing a
beach.
swimsuit.
Yeah.
Yeah, because people are
Yeah.
gonna have questions why you have all these giant octopus hickeys all over your back.
Yeah. For those who, there is a story behind me asking that question. So there is a fellow author that runs a chiropractic place local to me, and she posted on Facebook saying we need models for pictures for our social media. So I'm like, I'm no model. My name is Derek. My last name is not Zoolander, but I'm going. I'm good. Like I can come in, get some
Yeah,
pictures done, whatever. Because she
free
said if you
work.
come in, you get
Yeah,
a free massage after,
yeah.
like after we do everything. I'm like, I'll take a free massage, sure.
Heck yeah.
And one of the things they wanted pictures for was cupping. And as I'm getting the cupping done on my back, all of a sudden, like I'm laying on my stomach, and I hear the specialist going, "Wow, you're going really red, really fast." I'm going, is that a good thing or a bad thing? And then when I got the picture of like trying to see myself in the mirror, I went, my wife is going to ask questions. I was just I couldn't believe, because she did the one where it's just single cups, and then
Mhm.
one where you take the cup and you kind of run it down the back,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and
And
it's
it leaves a
just
track. Yeah.
these welts looking things on my back, and I'm just going, oh man, this it didn't hurt. It doesn't actually
It
hurt.
shouldn't really hurt. You will feel a sensation, but in
Yeah.
my opinion, it's not painful. Because the goal is, you're not trying to bruise someone, but it is a common
Hmm.
side effect that some bruising happens because you're drawing blood to the surface.
Yeah.
but the goal is, to lift tissue and muscle away from the underlying structure if things are just really, really stuck.
I just kept asking her though, like, does that mean there's something wrong
is
with
this
me?
good? Is this bad?
Like,
yeah, I think it just depends on the person in my experience. Like some people have very expressive skin.
Yeah.
And that
must be me.
Yeah. You have a very healthy vascular system, I would say. The blood was rushing to the surface.
As long as I got one good healthy thing going on for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
right. But thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for being here.
I'm happy. I was like, who are we going to have for our first guest? I'm just like,
it was my pleasure. Anytime you need a person, hit me up.
Sounds good.
Will do. Thank you, guys.